Good morning, girls. Welcome back to our software engineering revision session related to user interface design. So in the last revision session, we had discussed about the characteristics of good user interface. Now let us continue with different categories of user interface. So before we start with the different categories of user interfaces, first let us see what are the various classifications that are available to us. The first one is we can differentiate a user interface based on its mode. That is mode based and modeless based interface. What is this mode? A mode is nothing but a state or collection of states in which only a subset of all user interactions tasks can be performed. That means in a mode, we may have a state or a collection of states in which only subset of all user interaction tasks can be performed. That means if all the related user interactions are grouped, then that can be considered as a mode. In each state or mode, different types of commands are available. Coming to the modeless interface, in the modeless interface, the same set of commands can be invoked at any time during the running of the software. That means here there is no change of state, there is a single state. So in that state itself, whatever the available commands are there, all those commands can be used at any time while running that particular software. So thus it is only a single mode or a single state, and all the commands are available all the time during the operation of the software. Now coming to the mode based interface. So here different set of commands can be invoked depending on the mode in which the system is. That is, depending on the state, some set of commands are available in such a kind of user interface. So that is, the mode at any instant is determined based on the past sequences of user commands. A mode-based interface can be represented using a state transition diagram. What is this state transition diagram? In the transition diagram, each node of the state transition diagram represents a mode. Okay, each node in the state transition diagram represents a mode, and every state of the diagram can be annotated with the command names that are meaningful in that state. So in this manner, we represent the mode-based interface using state transition diagram. So this is an example of mode-based interface. For example, if you consider, here just we are having a Word file. So in the Word file, we are having various options on the toolbar. So one is file menu. Okay, in the file menu, see in the file menu, we are again having different options. Okay, so that means different menu items are there. So in the file menu, I had clicked on open. Okay, so that means only if I enter into the file menu state, then only I will be able to execute this open command. Can I do the same if I click on edit? That is, if I select the edit menu item, can I open a file? No. So that means some set of operations are grouped together to form a state. Okay. So here in a file menu, we are having different relevant options that are available, like whatever the input output operations that can be performed on a file. All those relevant operations are presented in the form of options. Okay, so now just on clicking the open, I am able to open some file in which is available in my system. Okay, so this is a kind of mode based interface. So depending on the mode, some set of operations will be available to us, or set of commands will be available to us. So here in the file mode, open command is available to me. Whereas in edit mode, that open command will not be available. Okay, so that's the difference between the mode based and modeless based interface. Now coming to the next variation of the user interfaces, that is graphical user interface versus text based user interface. So coming to the GUI, that is graphical user interface, in a GUI, multiple windows with different information can be simultaneously displayed on user's screen. So here this is a kind of GUI. Here multiple windows are displayed. One is the file related window and the other one is the open command related window. Okay. So in a graphical user interface, multiple windows with different information can be displayed at a time, and this is perhaps the biggest advantage of GUI. And users can simultaneously interact with several related items at any time, and they can have access to different system information displayed in different windows. Coming to the iconic information representation, so this is generally available in our mobile phones. Okay, so iconic information representation and a symbolic information manipulation is possible in GUI. Coming to the symbolic information manipulation, so in the symbolic information manipulation, the best example is like whenever you want to delete a file, then simply you can select that file icon and drag it towards the trash, that is towards the recycling bin. Okay, so that is a kind of symbolic information manipulation. A GUI can support command selection using an attractive and user-friendly menu selection system. So in this previous example, like we just everything is visible to us. All the commands are visible to us just by selecting a particular command. Just that is nothing but just by clicking on some menu item, we are able to execute certain commands. Okay, so all the commands are visible to the user in GUI. And one more advantage of GUI is we can use a pointing device like a mouse or a light pin in order to issue some commands. The use of these pointing devices make the command issue procedure simpler. Okay. On the other hand, a GUI requires special terminals with graphics capabilities for running and also requires special input devices such as mouse. Okay, these are some of the drawbacks in GUI. It requires some special terminals and graphics capabilities, that is a graphic card is required, and it also requires some special input devices like a mouse or a pointing pen, etc. Okay, but when compared to the advantages of GUI, we will be least bothered about this drawback. Okay. In contrast, a text-based interface can run even on cheap alphanumerical terminals. That means here, in order to execute the commands in text-based interface, we doesn't require any special terminals with graphic capabilities. Just a simple alphanumeric terminal is enough in order to execute the commands. Why? Because in the text-based interface, everything is based on the command. The user will be entering some command. So in order to enter the command, just a simple terminal is enough for us. Okay. So graphical terminals are usually much more expensive than alphanumerical terminals. But with the increasing availability of the terminals with graphics capability, bitmap high resolution displays, and significant amount of local processing power have become affordable and have replaced text-based terminals on the desktops. So as the availability of these graphic terminals, bitmapped high resolution displays, all this became affordable, because all this became affordable, because of which these GUI terminals had replaced the alphanumeric terminals, and finally it has replaced this text-based user interface. Now let us start with the types of interfaces. So generally user interfaces can be classified into three categories. One is command-based interface, second one is menu-based interface, and the third one is direct manipulation interface. So each category of these interfaces will be having their own advantages and drawbacks. Okay, so depending on the situation, that is depending on the requirement of the user interface, we need to select either command based or menu based or direct manipulation interface. Okay, so that was the choice of interface. So in order to choose a particular interface, that is whether to go with command based or menu based or direct manipulation, we are not provided with any guidelines. Okay, so to a large extent it depends on the experience and discretion of the designer. However, a study of the characteristics of different interfaces would give us some idea. So, in order to choose the best interface among these three, we are not provided with any guidelines. Okay, rather we can choose them based on our experience. Okay, and that can be done only if we know the characteristics of these interfaces. Okay, so once we know the characteristics of these interfaces, so based on our experience, we can choose the better opted interface. Okay, now let us go in depth with these interfaces. The first one is command based interface. So as the name itself suggests, it is based on designing a command language which the user can use to issue the commands. That means here the user will be entering the commands in order to get the services from the software product. That means he will be making use of some alphanumeric terminal here. Here the user is expected to frame the required commands in the language and type them whenever required. So generally here the commands are given in simple English, okay, and the relevant names should be given to those command names. So coming to the design of command language interface. A simple command language based interface might simply assign unique names to different commands. A more sophisticated command language interface allows users to compose primitive commands to perform more complex commands. That means in a simple command language based interface, it will provide a simple commands with unique names to perform various tasks. But coming to the complex command language interfaces, this will allow the user to create their own commands. That means it will allow to compose primitive commands to form more complex commands. Just by combining the available commands, they will try to develop the new commands. So here the person who is developing these new commands are not the designers, rather he is the user who is using that software product. Okay, so some of the command language based interfaces will provide that flexibility to the users, and generally this can be done only by the experienced people. A novice user, that is a new user, cannot create such a kind of complex commands by using the existing commands. Okay, this facility to compose commands dramatically reduces the number of command names users would have to remember. And these interfaces will allow faster interaction with the computer and simplify the input of complex commands. Coming to the advantages, so this command language interface, it requires minimal typing for most efficient command issue procedures. Just by typing the command name, we will be able to get the service from the software product. Okay, if you can consider any menu based interface, you need to navigate from one menu to the other menu. So that means everything is not available in a single state. Okay, so but whereas here every command can be executed on a single window. That's nothing but a terminal. Okay, so it reduces the minimal typing for most efficient command issue procedures, and these are easy to develop. Why? Because just what we require is to frame the commands, and we need to assign certain services to those commands. We doesn't require to design any screens, any separate windows, or any navigations from one screen to the other screen. Okay, and these can be implemented even on a cheap alphanumeric terminals, much more efficient compared to other types of interfaces. Okay, so these are the advantages of command based interfaces. Coming to the drawbacks, so generally we can find the drawback of these command language interfaces for the novice users, that is the persons who are not having any technical knowledge. Okay, they feel difficult in using this command language interface. Okay, so it is difficult to learn and requires the user to memorize the set of primitive commands. It requires the user to type in commands. If the user makes errors while formulating the commands in the command languages and also typing them in. So generally the user may perform mistakes while formulating new commands from the existing one, and sometimes they may make errors while typing the commands also. Okay, and here all the interactions are done only through the keyboard. It cannot take advantage of effective interaction devices such as a mouse. Okay, And for casual and inexperienced users, command language interfaces are not suitable. Now coming to the issues in designing a command language interface. So design of a command language interface involves several issues like the designer has to decide what mnemonics ought to be used for the commands. Mnemonics are nothing but some shorthand notations. Okay, um, for example, if at all you want to perform a sort operation, that is sorting. Okay, so generally the mnemonic used for it is like sort. Okay, and if you consider any Linux commands, there you can see the cat command. So cat command is used for creating a file, and it can also be used for displaying the file. Okay, and it can also be used for concatenating the files. Okay, it can perform certain these operations. But what is the name given to that command? Just a 3-letter word, that is cat. Okay, so in that manner we need to give the command names. So we need to decide what kind of mnemonics, what kind of shorthand notation should be given. So you should choose those mnemonics in such a way that it has to briefly configure what kind of service it is providing. Okay, you should use relevant namings. Okay, and these mnemonics should be meaningful yet be concise to minimize the amount of typing required. That means it should be meaningful and at the same time it should be short. For example, the shortest mnemonics should be assigned to the most frequently used commands. Second issue is the designer has to decide whether users will be allowed to redefine command names to suit their own preferences. That is, whether he is allowed to create the complex commands by using the existing primitive command names. Okay, if by letting a user define his own mnemonics for various commands is a useful feature, but it increases the complexity of user interface development. The third issue is the designer has to decide whether it should be possible to compose primitive commands to create more complex commands. The syntax and semantics of the command composition options has to be clearly and unambiguously decided. That is, whenever you are creating any complex command, the syntax and semantics of those commands has to be clearly mentioned and it should not lead to any ambiguities. The ability to combine commands is a powerful facility for experienced users but quite unnecessary for inexperienced users. Okay, so as I said you, this command based interface generally preferred by the experienced users itself. Okay, now coming to the second category, that is menu based interface. So coming first, let us discuss about the advantages of this menu based interface, and next let us see how to design this menu based interface. So coming to the advantages, users are not required to remember exact syntax of commands. Why? Because it is based on the command name recognition rather than recollection. So here the user is not required to recollect what is the command name. Why? Because it's not a text based. All those command names are visible on the screen just by recognizing what would be the relevant command. Just by selecting it, he can get the service from the software product. Okay, and it doesn't require any typing. It just requires the user to select a menu by using some pointing devices, like he is having no flexibility of using the mouse. So this factor becomes very important for the occasional users who cannot type fast. For experienced users, menu-based interface is slower than command language interface. Why? Because these experienced people are always habituated in typing. Okay, so everything whatever kind of the command they want to execute, just they can execute in the terminal itself. They will be feel bored by from navigating from one page to the other page in order to execute certain commands, or selecting some commands in the given list of menu items. Okay, so they feel a little bit this menu based interface is little bit slower when compared to the command language interface. Okay, composition of commands in menu based interface is not possible because the actions involving logical connectives is awkward to specify in menu based interface. So this is the major drawback. Like whenever this menu based interface is compared with the command based interface, there we can form there the user is having the flexibility to form the complex commands, that is he can combine the available commands to generate a new command. So that combining the available, that is primitive commands, is done by involving some logical operators like and, or, all. Okay, but that kind of flexibility is not available in menu based system. If a number of choices is large, it is difficult to design a menu based interface. Even moderate sized software needs hundreds or thousands of menu choices. So a major problem with menu based interface is structuring large number of menu choices into manageable forms. That means we should know how to design this menu based interface. Okay, that is the most concerned issue. Why? Because even a small project may require hundreds or thousands of menu choices. That is, we need to execute certain hundreds of thousands of commands. Okay, so all those commands cannot be displayed in a single window. Okay, so here there comes the structuring of those large number of commands. So here the commands are nothing but the menu items. In the menu based interface, the commands are referred to as a menu items. Okay, so now we need to discuss about how to structure the menus in the menu based interface. So there comes three options. So in order to structure this menu based interface, we are provided with three options. One is the scrolling menu, the second one is walking menu, and the third one is hierarchical menu. So depending on our requirement, we may either go with one of these three, that is scrolling or walking or hierarchical. Coming to the scrolling menu. So this menu is used when the choice list is large and cannot be displayed within a menu area. The scrolling of menu items lets the user to view and select menu items that cannot be accommodated on one screen. So suppose if at all the list of menu items is large, so all those list of items cannot be accommodated in a single screen. So we can go for scrolling menu. In that case, we can go for scrolling menu. So I will show you one example now. So here, so this is a Word file. So in a Word file, we are having one menu item, that is select font size. Okay, that is font size or font height. Okay, so generally we'll be providing with a large number of font sizes. Okay, that means it starts from 8 and we can have a much higher number. Okay, all those different font sizes cannot be displayed in this single window. Rather, if we use this scrolling menu, okay, we can so we can display now our menu items in this manner. Okay, see here so here you can see a scroll bar, right? So this is the scroll bar, right? So here the scroll bar will is nothing but it is representing a kind of scrolling menu. In a scrolling menu, all commands should be highly correlated so that user can easily locate a command that he needs. So this is important because the user cannot see all the commands at any one time. Okay, that means all the relevant commands should be all the correlated or all the relevant commands should be available in a single place. Suppose if we consider the same example, so here we are representing the only the font size, right? So now what I had done means from 8 to 100 the font size are displayed at this toolbar, and rather from 101 to some 300, if I am using that toolbar somewhere at the top corner, like somewhere here, then it is irrelevant. Why? Because here that particular menu item is performing the same task, that is selection of font size. But what I had done, I had provided it in two different areas. So is it a meaningful one or no? Okay, so always whenever you are whenever you are going for a scrolling menu, that is whenever you are using a scrolling menu, all the commands should be highly correlated to each other. Coming to the walking menu. Walking menu is commonly used to structure a large collection of menu items. So that means here within a menu, another menu will be opened, that is a sub menu will be opened. In this technique, when a menu item is selected, it causes further menu items to be displayed adjacent to it in a sub menu. A walking menu can successively structure commands only if there are 10 choices rather than hundreds of choices. So that means if you consider the same example, like here you are having some hundreds of choices, right? So whenever those many choices are there, like more than 100 of choices are there, then you can't go with this walking menu. Okay, rather you need to go for the scrolling menu itself. Okay, so this walking menu is best suitable whenever the number of choices is limited to 10. And why we are having that limitation means it takes much screen space in order to display all those menu items, that is sub menu items adjacently. Okay, so a walking menu example, let us see one example here. Okay, so this is an example for walking menu. So here first I had selected a table. Okay, in a menu item, that is in a list of items, first, sorry, not table, first I had selected insert. Okay, so again in insert I had selected a table. Okay, once I had selected a table, okay, here again a submenu is displayed. Okay, so here a submenu is displayed. So again in this submenu I had selected quick tables. What happened? Again one more menu is displayed. Okay, so this is how we can represent the menu items by using walking menu. Okay, so for here we are having three menus. One is the word file, next one is the table selection, next one is the related to the quick tables. Okay, and the third one is hierarchical menu. So this hierarchical menu is something related to the walking menu itself, but the only difference is in walking menu all the menu windows are displayed adjacently, but whereas in the hierarchical menu the submenu is displayed in the next page. That means we can't see all the menu items in a single page. Okay, so here the selecting a menu item causes the current menu to be current menu display to be replaced by an appropriate sub menu. Okay, so that is only the difference between the walking menu and the hierarchical menu. So this menu can be, that is this hierarchical menu can be considered to form a hierarchical tree like structure. So that means like you will be opening one menu, like you will be selecting one menu item. Okay, so that will lead to the opening of then another sub menu. That means now this current menu is replaced by another menu. If you select some other option in that menu, that is in the second menu, now it will be replaced by some other menu. So if you diagrammatically represent this structure, it will lead to a tree like structure. Okay, so as I said, your walking menu is a form of hierarchical menu which is practicable when the tree is shallow. The hierarchical menu can be used to manage large number of choices, but users face navigational problems because they lose track of where they are in the menu tree. So here we are provided with the flexibility of using multiple choices. Okay, whereas in a walking menu there the number of choices is limited to the 10 itself. Okay, that means we can at a time we can represent only 10 sub menus, but it's not in hierarchical menu. In hierarchical menu what is happening, we are able to navigate from one menu to the another menu. One menu is replaced by its sub menu. Okay, so in that manner we can have any number of choices. Okay, but the drawback is we may forget, like we may lose the track of where we are in the current menu tree. Okay, and generally it is suitable for small screens with limited display area, such as that in mobile phones. So in our mobile phones, whatever the menu interface we are seeing is a kind of hierarchical menu. Like we will be opening various pages, right? And all those pages are generally available at like if you press a bottom left bottom left corner, like if you there one symbol will be there, like a circle symbol will be there. If you press there, it will show what are the recently opened windows by you. Okay, so that is the best example for hierarchical menu. Now coming to the third category of user interface, that is direct manipulation interface. So until now what we had seen is a menu based interface. Okay, first we had discussed about command based interface, next a menu based interface. Again in the menu based interface, the three ways for structuring the menus. Okay, now let us start with the direct manipulation interface. The direct manipulation interfaces present the interface to the user in the form of visual models, that is like icons or objects. The best example is whatever the interface that is provided for us in the mobile phones. Okay, so here we are provided with the iconic symbols. For example, if you want to open the messages, okay, no need to enter any command in order to open the message. Just by clicking on the message icon, our messages will be opened. Okay, here the actions are performed on the visual representation of the objects. For example, pulling an icon representing a file into an icon representing a trash box for deleting the file. Okay, so that is also a kind of direct manipulation interface. Direct manipulation interfaces are sometimes called as iconic interfaces. Why? Because here all the commands, instead of command names, here we are representing those commands in the form of some symbols, that is some form of icons. So that's the reason why it is called as iconic interface. Coming to the important advantage of this iconic interface is icons can be recognized by users very easily. Just by seeing the icon, we can say what kind of service that particular icon is providing, that is what kind of service it is related to. Icons are language independent, so we no need to bother about the language. So anyone who can see the icons, that is who is having the visibility nature, can anyone can make use of those iconic interfaces. However, experienced users consider direct manipulation interfaces too slow. Obviously it happens with the experienced users, because every time these experienced users are much interested in using this command language based interface itself. Well, because they are very habituated by typing. It is difficult to form complex commands using a direct manipulation interface. So this is one of the drawback in direct manipulation or iconic manipulation interface. Here we cannot perform some complex commands. For example, if at all you want to delete all the files in a particular folder, then to delete all files in a folder, one has to perform that particular delete operation again and again. That means he need to select the file icon and move it to the, that is drag it towards the trash box. Suppose if at all you are having only 2 files in the directory, then you can simply delete them. That is simply you can drag them and drop them in the trash box. But what if you have thousands of files? What if you have thousands of files? Then it will be difficult for you to drag and put it in the trash box. Okay, but this can be easily done in command language interface just by issuing a command, that is delete delete space some file name we can give. Okay, so here instead of giving the file name, since we want to delete all the files, you can just use a star dot star. Here dot indicates like that file is having some extension, that is some files will be having some extensions, like some file name dot exe, some file name dot txt. Okay, so it will select all the files with extensions and it will delete all those files. So that's all about the types of user interfaces. So in the next class, let us more discuss about these user interfaces. Okay, thank you.